How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the upcoming Team Go Rocket Takeover in Pokemon Go. Now with that being said, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the Team Go Rocket Takeover is going to be taking place from June 21st to June 25th, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. your local time. And the upcoming bonus that we've all been anticipating for a while now is going to be TM Frustration. For example, one of the main Pokemon that I think many of us are looking forward to TMing Frustration away on is going to be Shadow Mewtwo. I actually got a shiny Shadow Mewtwo from that raid weekend, so I'm personally really looking forward to finally utilizing that Pokemon, giving it Size Strike. Now, for some of you guys who may not know how to get charged TMs in Pokemon Go, or at least are struggling to get charged TMs, there are two main strategies that I like to utilize. The first one is going to be Go Battle League. So the second win reward is actually going to give you a chance to get charged TMs, and it's a pretty common drop rate. The second way is going to be from Tier 3 and Mega Raids. You actually get a guaranteed charged TM from doing these, so you don't even have to worry about the RNG aspect of it. If you just do these raids, even with your free passes, you can go ahead and get some guaranteed charged TMs right there. So of course, TM Frustration is one of the main takeaways of this event, but there's so many other things going on as well. For example, we're also going to be getting some new Shadow Pokemon into the game, specifically Alolan Geodude, Hitmontop, Glameow, and Gibble. Yeah, you heard me right. Shadow Garchomp is going to be a monster in the raid meta, so let's go over this really quick. Even though GamePress hasn't actually added this into their website, I can do some rough comparisons just based on its regular counterpart. So I first want to take a look at Shadow Garchomp in the Ground-type meta. So currently the best available Shadow for the Ground-type meta at the moment is Shadow Mamoswine. Now if we compare regular Garchomp with Earth Power, which is a Community Day exclusive moveset, to regular Mamoswine, there isn't actually a huge difference because Mamoswine got access to high horsepower, which was a major upgrade for this Pokemon. That being said though, Shadow Garchomp is going to be the best ground-type attacker non-mega in the game, but it will cost you an Elite TM. Don't forget about Earth Power. You have to have it with Earth Power in order for it to be as good. If not, if you don't have Earth Power, then Shadow Mamoswine is still going to be better than Shadow Garchomp, so unless you get a really good IV spread, I wouldn't really recommend doing this on your Shadow Gibble or Shadow Garchomp, I should say. But if you do, then by all means, definitely make sure to add Shadow Garchomp to your ground-type attacker team. Next up, let's take a look at Shadow Garchomp in the Dragon-type meta. Once again, just purely speculation here based on its regular counterpart. So currently, the best available Shadow for the Dragon-type meta is Shadow Salamence. Now, if we compare Garchomp with Outrage, which is not an exclusive moveset or anything like that, but if we compare it to regular Salamence, which also has Outrage, and I should also mention that Salamence with Outrage is an exclusive Comday moveset, so that's another consideration as well. But we can see here that it actually falls below, and when it comes down to Shadow Garchomp, it's still going to be an excellent Pokemon to add to your Dragon-type attacker team, but you definitely have some considerations here, right? If you want to go Shadow Garchomp for the Ground-type meta, it's going to be the best of the best, outside of the Megas. But if you go with it in the Dragon-type category, Shadow Salamence is still going to be the better option here. But once again, the give and take here is that if you go with the Ground-type, you're going to have to use an Elite TM. If you go with the Dragon-type, you don't have to use an Elite TM, whereas you would have to use an Elite TM for Shadow Salamence. So I think there's some nice trade-offs here that definitely puts it in a pretty good spot. No matter how you slice it, Shadow Garchomp's going to be an excellent addition to your teams, whether that be for the Ground-type meta or for the Dragon-type meta. Moving on though, we're also going to be getting some new Team Go Rocket leader rotation, so this means that Shadow Larvitar from Cliff is no longer going to be the Pokemon to hunt. And if you are still hunting it, definitely make sure to try and grind that Pokemon out before the 21st, because once we get that shakeup, it's not going to be rotating for the next 3 to 4 months maybe. So hunt down those Shadow Shiny Larvitar if you really want them. We may get them again in regular Rockets, in which case they can be shiny, but I don't expect that to happen in the next rotation. Next up on the list, let's take a look at the 12-kilometer egg pool, and before we even do that, I also want to mention that Shiny Pancham is going to be debuting during this event as well. Now, in order to evolve this into Pangoro, you're going to need to catch 32 Dark-type Pokemon with Pancham as your buddy. Some of you guys may not have realized that, so I just wanted to make that clear as of right now. But yeah, this is going to be the new shiny that people are going to be hunting, and of course, it's going to be in the 12-kilometer egg pool. In addition to Pancham being in the 12-kilometer egg pool, we're also going to have Larvitar, Absol, Skorupi, Sandile, Scraggy, Pawniard, Vullaby, Dino, Inkay, Skrelp, and Salandit. And then once again, for those of you guys who don't know, there's actually, I believe, a 12.5% chance to hatch a female Salandit, which is the only one that you can evolve. You can't actually evolve the male Salandits. So yeah, that's pretty much the 12-kilometer egg pool right there, and the majority of the event. But there is still one more thing that we need to talk about, and that is going to be the special research, which is going to feature the new Shadow Legendary Pokemon, Shadow Regirock. And then after September 1st, you actually won't be able to get this special research anymore. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the end of the rotation and we're going to get a new Shadow Legendary around this time. We've actually made that mistake in the past where I think it was Shadow Latios that ended on September 1st, like a year or two ago, but we didn't actually get the next Shadow Legendary for like a few months afterwards. So basically what this means is that Shadow Regirock is still going to be available as the featured Shadow Legendary Pokemon from Giovanni until we actually get the official next Shadow Legendary Pokemon, which at this point, I mean, having gone through most of the Gen 3 Legendary Pokemon, Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre have to be next. I mean, I would really be surprised if they weren't. Now with that being said though, let's talk about Shadow Regirock in terms of its overall meta relevance. So in the raid meta, it's pretty much just a worthless Pokemon. Don't ever use this Pokemon for raids. But when it comes down to PvP, this Pokemon is actually pretty good, and same goes for its counterpart, or sorry, its regular counterpart, I should say. More focused on the Ultra League. It still has some decent play in the Great League, but I feel like it really shines in the Ultra League. Once again though, it is going to be a worse comparison to its normal counterpart, and it's going to cost you more resources for essentially the same thing. So, you know, there is that drawback, but you will have a better chance of rolling a good IV spread because Shadow Legendary Pokemon have a floor of 6. So you could potentially roll like 6, 15, 15, which would be optimal for the Great League and the Ultra League. Again, that's totally up to you if you want to go that route. You could just always go with a regular Regirock. Either way, it's going to be resource intensive no matter how you look at it. But it's really up to you at the end of the day. If you're more of an avid PvP player, then this could be good. If not, then I would just recommend holding onto your Super Rocket Radar for the future using one of the following methods. So there are going to be 2 different ways you can actually stack your Super Rocket Radars. We're going to go over the newest method first. So in order to do this method, all you have to do is basically just stay on page 1 of your special research. So let's say, for example, you have the Shadow Regi Ice quest, right? All you have to do is just continue to stay on page 1 of that quest, and then when this rotation comes in, you're automatically going to unlock the new one. So it's actually really simple to use this method, and I'm pretty sure you can just keep stacking these quests indefinitely until you want to cash in on those Super Rocket Radars. The best way that I would look at doing this is that when you actually get to a legendary Pokemon that you want to cash in, for example, if Shadow Regirock is that Pokemon that you guys really want to get, maybe you're really into PvP or something like that, what I would do is I would go through every single special research you have for Team Go Rocket, and then once you get to page 5, that's going to be the time where you have to beat Giovanni. You're pretty much going to complete that step for every single quest you have available, and you're going to pocket all of the extra Super Rocket Radars. You're only going to use that one for Shadow Regirock, and yeah, everything else, you just stack in your inventory. And then pretty much after September 1st, we're going to get the next special research quest, and you guys can go ahead and either complete that one to get the Shadow Legendary for that rotation, or you can continue to stack it moving forward and then just utilize this same trick. Again, if you guys have any questions about this method, just leave them in the comment section down below, or even check out my previous video where I go into this a little bit more in depth. But that's pretty much how to do the new method in a nutshell. Now, if you're watching this past the 21st, or maybe you already went past page 1, you're gonna have to utilize the old method. So all you have to do for the old method is just get to page 5, like right before you battle and beat Giovanni, and then just wait on this page until the next special research quest comes into play. Now, one thing I do want to reiterate, or just I guess emphasize more, is that the best way to tell what Shadow Legendary you're gonna end up getting is based on the final Pokemon in Giovanni's lineup, which as of right now, it should be Regice. But it's going to change to Shadow Regirock on the 21st. Make sure that that last Pokemon is Shadow Regirock, otherwise you're going to get Shadow Regice if that's the last Pokemon. Once again though, if you guys have any questions about using either of these methods, just leave them in the comment section down below. I tend to get a lot of comments about this stuff, so I always do my best to respond to everybody. And yeah, I will try to help you as much as I can, but hopefully most of this does make sense. And then once again, when it comes down to Shadow Regirock, this is probably worth skipping for most of you unless you're into PvP, in which case definitely worth getting a Shadow Regirock. But for me personally, I haven't decided on what I'm going to do yet. I'd be curious to hear what you guys plan on doing in the comment section down below, so let me know if you plan to either save your Super Rocket Radar or use at least one to get Shadow Regirock. Anyways though, that's basically going to do it for this one, guys. If you're still looking for some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.